welcome back to my channel. It's somebody boy Auntie, or you might know me as Taz. If you would like to join my team and you love these videos because I see y'all watching, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when the next video drops. Also, please be sure to like, comment, and share this video. All right, let's get into it. So I know many of you all read the title, Why I Quit My Fitness Journey. And you were like, we was rooting for you.
Rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you?
You gave me all the Tyra energy. I felt it when you read the title. So I know some people may be new here. So I'm gonna go ahead and give them like the rundown of how everything's been thus far. So then when I start talking about why I quit, they'll know what we're talking about here. All right, so I just want to give a little background real quick about my childhood. So I said it was going to be quick, but it wasn't. So that's why I went ahead and cut and just did a voiceover. Basic highlights. Didn't realize that I was really bigger than everybody until 3rd grade when I transitioned from an all-black school to an all-white school. My mom convinced me that it was different body types, but that wasn't necessarily the case. Basically, I was just over snacking and overeating. This carried into middle school and high school. In middle school, I actually joined the football team, but that didn't last long because I was too much work. I was working out way too much, did not like it. So then high school, I tried again by doing marching band, which also didn't last that long. And a lot of my weight loss was related to prom, which is how we get to this point right here in the story.
I worked out. Like, I was like trying to do like top bow in my living room, stuff like that, just to like make sure like I could fit into my prom dress, which is really toxic. Like, and it's sad because like I had always been bigger. Well, I shouldn't say always, but from a young age, like 3rd grade, I had been bigger, and it was like every time that I said like I was big or like I was fat or something, people would be like, but you're so beautiful. And it's like, I'm not saying I'm ugly, like, don't get me wrong, like that's not at all what I'm saying. I'm just saying like I am bigger, like I'm acknowledging that fact. But this anxiety really increased like around prom time, because when you're going to these prom stores to like purchase dresses and things like that, a lot of times they stop at like a 14. Some of them stop at a 12. So it's like you're already trying to squeeze into like a dress that's too small. The senior year, it was like I really worked hard to lose weight, because I was like, I can't have another year like my junior prom year where like I'm in a 20 or 22. I can't find a dress anywhere. So it just so happened that like I had lost enough weight, and then I ended up finding a dress that was like an 18. And like that was cute and all. But then like I got my heart broken after prom, because it was like I found out that the dude who I went to prom with, who like I had been trying to date on and off for like 2 years, like, and like I found out that he was like cheating on me with somebody who was skinnier, and like that was a whole mess. That really did affect my self-esteem, but I still tried to like really like, you know, keep going, especially because like everybody was like, oh, like you're going to Howard, like there's gonna be plenty of men there, like don't worry about him, you'll find your husband. So, at this point, it's like I get to Howard University. It's my freshman year. We'll insert a picture here. And at this time, I was like I was still around like that 18, because I had worked so hard to like lose this weight before like prom and everything. So when I first got to Howard in that fall, like I was still around that size. Like I had been swimming that summer. I had been like working out that summer. Like I was like, I don't want to put the weight back on. Like I worked so hard to fit into that prom dress that like I can't gain this weight. So I met my best friend. Hey girl, you know who you are. And we were both talking. And like I was talking to her, and I was like, girl, like if I gain any more weight, like I want you to lock me in a closet and starve me. And I know that sounds dramatic, but like I'm kind of dramatic. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I just be with the dramatics. So I was like, yeah girl, like lock me up in a closet. Now freshman year me did not quite know just where this journey of Howard University was gonna take me. I definitely gained that freshman 15. Part of it was like I was eating in the cafeteria, which at the time the food in the cafeteria was not that great. So I was definitely using my dining dollars. I was a vegetarian, so of course protein options were kind of limited. Like the most they had really was like black bean burgers and french fries. So most days I ate black bean burgers and french fries. I would like use my dining dollars and stuff, and I would go in Wow and get like pasta, or I would go to Sankofa and I was getting like smoothies with tons of sugar in them because they add sugar to them, or I was going and getting like the melts, things like that. basically at the end of my freshman year, I started seeing on like Instagram and stuff, like people were really going on like these fitness journeys. So I started asking around about a personal trainer, and I found one who did like group training sessions, and it was in Burr Gymnasium. So like I was also getting some workout by going up the hill to Burr, and then like once I was getting there, it was like I was working out with like a group of women. Like it was very motivating and everything. But when the end of the year came, it was like, of course, like the trainer was graduating and things like that. So it kind of just like fell off. Like it was one of those things where it was just like I done kind of fell off this journey. So that summer, I had actually gone to Tanzania that summer. So like a lot of the stuff I was eating was like rice, beans, chapati. Like I was having a great time eating, just getting around. Went home after my trip in Tanzania, again, just getting around. Like, I really wasn't eating meat, but it was like the other stuff I was eating. Like, I was eating a lot of cake, a lot of candy, a lot of stuff that is like, okay, in moderation is cool, but if it's like every day you're waking up and eating it, like, that's not gonna work. So, at this point, I go back my sophomore year, and these bad habits are still continuing, but now it's even worse because, like, my sophomore year is when, like, I really started, like, getting involved with like drinking, and like this was stuff that like my freshman year I wasn't concerned about. Like freshman year me, I was like, I'm not doing that, like I didn't come here for that, like no. And then sophomore year I was like, yes, like I'm here for it, I'm gonna be there, da, da, da. So it's like, of course, you're staying up later, you're consuming more calories. Not to mention I was also taking organic chemistry, so I was up studying later. Then it was like when I started realizing I was failing organic chemistry, I was sad, and when I'm sad, I be eating. Because I'm definitely an emotional eater, so like when I'm happy and I'm celebrating, I want to go get something to eat. When I'm sad, I want to go get something to eat. So because of that, it was like, this is when like I first started failing class. And like, if y'all know me, I don't fail. Like, that is something that's very rare for me. So, like, coming across something that, I'm really failing this was just distraught. Like, completely distraught. So, it was like, now I'm up late. I'm sad because I'm not understanding this material. So, I'm also eating. Then I'm eating just because I'm up. Like, eating all types of foolishness. Like, I'm getting a quesadilla at, like, 2 a.m. Like, things like that. So, it's just like at this point I'm making all these bad decisions about like what to eat, when to eat, all of that. And like for me, I was like, I didn't feel like I was gaining no weight, right? Like I just felt like it was me, like this is what I wake up to every morning, whatever. We went to take family pictures when I went home in December, and I saw myself, woo. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like I remember like looking at the pictures, and like every single picture, I just felt like I didn't look that good. Like it was to the point that I honestly don't think that I posted any of these pictures. And I also don't remember like allowing my sister to tag me in them. Like honestly, I don't even think these pictures have been printed. Like that's how much like I was looking at myself and was like, oh no, like this isn't it, you know? And like that's really unfortunate, but I really feel like for me, I was just like, oh my gosh, like I'm not cute. Like I just like I was like, this is not it. Like this is it. This is not it. So that kind of made me be like, okay, like I gotta get myself together. Like I'm gonna do this. But again, that lasted maybe like a week. After that week, I got back in school. I was back busy. I was back like trying to do everything, balance everything, eating whenever, whatever. So now I'm still just a hot mess. So we get to junior year. Same rhythm until, again, winter break. And when I went home for winter break, I remember being like, I'm gonna do this weight loss journey. This the year I'm gonna do this weight loss journey. Especially because, like, my birthday is the day after Christmas. So, like, sometimes I'd be like, I'm gonna restart now. Like, this is my new year, new me, boom. Again, that lasted about a week. Did not last too. I wanted to be in the Miss Co-op's pageant. I was like, I'm gonna be in this pageant. But I felt like I wasn't gonna win if I was big. Just because it was like, for me, like when I was looking at my body, like I was like, I'm not a pageant, like my body's not pageant winnable. I'm looking at all of these like pageant people, and all of them are skinny except for like one. And the one that I knew that wasn't skinny, I was like, my body and her body do not look the same. Like she got like a whole boom, 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 and I'm like a brown. I didn't feel like I was in a place to be able to win. So I like started hurry up and like Googling like ways to lose weight fast ways to lose weight, quick ways to lose weight. Found like this clinic, and this clinic specialized in weight loss, and they were like, girl, you know what, for $40 a week, we're gonna give you this little shot in your booty, you're gonna take these pills, we got a grocery list, just follow it, you're gonna lose the weight, you're gonna be fine. So they showed me like all these pictures of They showed me like all these before and after pictures, things like that. But there was a lot of things that they didn't tell me. One of those things that they didn't tell me was like, oh, like, you're gonna lose weight, but you might be poisoning yourself. So you might have health issues later. And they also didn't tell me about like the mental effects that it could also have. So it was like, I'm sitting up here thinking like, oh, like, I'm gonna be good. Like, they just told me like, I just take these pills and I'm fine. Whole time I'm not fine. Like, at this point, it's like I'm sinking deeper and deeper into depression. So even though they're telling me not to drink alcohol, like at the time I was like, well, everybody else is drinking, why not drink the alcohol? So then it's like I'm having a fun time drinking this alcohol. So like that's a ton of calories. Then on top of it, it's like me and my friends were ordering food out. I had also just transitioned from like being vegan into being pescatarian thanks to a trip to New Orleans that I took. But it's like, so at this point, it's like I'm still having these bad eating habits because I'm depressed, but I'm also taking this medicine that increases the feelings of depression. And then I'm like, I'm still trying to lose weight. But then it's like, because of these pills, like I am losing weight. So like in my head, I'm like, well, what I'm doing is fine. But here's the catch. So I remember being like, well, this is inexpensive because one, I was having to take like Uber rides to go from like Howard's campus to like downtown DC. So that was costing me money. Then I was having to give them the $40 a week. And like, for me, I was just like, this is getting to the point that like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, it's too expensive. I don't want to do this anymore. So when I tell you, like, within maybe 2 weeks of me stopping the medicine and stopping the shots and everything, I gained all of that weight back. Like, we're talking like 20 pounds. Just like that. So now I'm back basically where I started at. And it's leading into like my senior year. And like, I really didn't make too many changes. Senior year, I was very chill. Like, I was like, I don't have too much to worry about. The first semester of my senior year, I actually went to study abroad in Zanzibar for 6 months. Best time of my life. But the entire time that I was there, it was like all these comments about like how I was bigger, all these comments about how I was bigger. So like all of that's playing in the back of my head because especially there, like I did stand out being a bigger girl. Like, and then when I was trying to buy clothes and like go to the seamstress, things like that, or even like buying fabric to get clothes made, it was like, oh, you're gonna need a lot of fabric, like things like that. That really just played into me being like mindful of the fact that I'm bigger, but also feeling like people don't like me because I'm bigger. And then it was like, there was also like a comment made at one point of like, oh, like you have to get smaller to find a husband because if you stay big, like no one's gonna want to marry you. So now like in the back of my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, like no wonder ain't nobody been trying to date me, like because I'm big as hell, like no wonder. So now I'm like, I really gotta lose weight. So then my spring semester at Howard, it was like I went on an ASB trip, which I love ASB. Again, we can have another discussion about that because I went all 4 years at Howard. But when we got there, we went to St. Thomas, and there was a point where like we were on the beach taking pictures. And when I tell you, we can insert a picture right here. But I remember looking at these pictures, and I was like, I look like a whole beached up whale. And like, what made it even worse is like, I was also taking pictures of like some of my friends, and I kept looking at their pictures, and I was like, oh my gosh, like they look so beautiful. Like, look at the sun, look at the sky, look at the land behind them, stuff like that. And in my head, I'm like, this beached up whale. What a shame. What a shame. So, so at this point, I'm like, I really do need to lose weight. But at this time, I'm also like, I'm transitioning from like Howard to like adulthood. Didn't have a place to stay. Lived with a friend for a little bit on her couch, which I greatly appreciate her. She's a godsend. But it's like I'm living on her couch for a little bit. Then I go from living on her couch to moving into some dorms on Catholic's campus. And like while I'm there with my teaching program, it's like, again, I'm back in that same habit of going to the cafeteria, basically eating veggie burgers and fries. Then on top of it, I'm becoming a teacher. And for anyone who has ever been a teacher, they know that like you get bombarded with snacks. Like people be wondering why teachers are thick, because it's snacks everywhere. Like, especially at the school that I was working at, it was like we were doing like the summer training even before we started summer school. And at the summer training, it's like unlimited snacks in the morning, unlimited snacks after lunch, candy on the table. Then once we started summer school, it's like, okay, it's a kid's birthday, so I'm eating snacks here. It's this, it's that, so I'm eating. So next thing I know, it's for the break, and I go home, and my nephew, who I love dearly, is rubbing my belly, talking about my belly. And I know he ain't mean it like maliciously, but like I was like, dang, he might have a point. So again, go to take family pictures. And I was just like, this is ridiculous. So I was like, I gotta do something. So I started like really thinking back on like, okay, like what has helped me lose weight, what has been harmful, things like that. So I really did start like, you know, like trying to eat better, things like that. So we get to November of 2019. And this is when I like kept seeing like my friends were kind of like posting like this company that had just started up that was like doing weight loss and stuff like that. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, like, so I'm sitting here, okay, my bad, camera. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, like I guess this is something that like I could be interested in. I could like, you know, like I could do this. Like it was like people my age were working out, things like that. So I contacted them and they helped me get with like a personal trainer and everything. So then it was like me and the personal trainer were really working out, and like they kept asking me to think about like my why. Like, why am I doing this? And I kept saying that my why was that I genuinely wanted to get healthy. But what I now realize is like my why had nothing to do with getting healthy. Like my why was just like, I want to look good because I want to get more Instagram followers. I want to get my likes up. I want men to want me. I want to be an Instagram baddie. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to do that. It had nothing with getting healthy. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I want to get healthy. But like that was like nothing that had to do with this journey at all. Like I was just like, I really need like these Instagram likes. Like I really need like my dating profile to be popping. Like I really need to like lose weight because I need to get a husband. Like that is what's in like my head. And so it's like I was working out with a personal trainer and I was doing really well. And then I realized like the personal trainer option was just a bit too expensive for me. Like I still had like living expenses in DC that had to be covered and stuff like that. 1 second. All right, so boom, me and the trainer were really working out and everything, and I realized that like the trainer option was a little bit too expensive for me. Like it just wasn't budget friendly. So I started working out on my own with the help of the fitness program. So like they were still doing weekly check-ins. They were like sending me workouts to do, things like that. Like they were very supportive and everything. But I got to the point that I was like, you know what, like this is not for me.
And this happened like during the quarantine. Like I really had a time to like just reflect and everything, because you know, like I'm working from home right now, and then like in the evenings, like there's nowhere to go but home. You know, we're trying to stay safe and be like social distancing and stuff like that. So with that, there were like 4 reasons that really stood out to me on like why I should quit my weight loss / fitness journey. The first reason was the fact that like my why wasn't for me. Like, yes, like I wanted to get healthier, but I feel like a lot of my why I wanted to work out was rooted in like the way that I wanted other people to see me and perceive me. And because of that, I feel like my motivation, once we were in quarantine and I really wasn't going anywhere or anything like that, like it became hard for me to motivate myself. Because I was just like, well, now, like, what's the point? Like, I can't take pictures. I can't do this. I can't do that. And, like, for me, like, I was like, if I go on something like this, like, I need to have a really good why. Especially because this was something that the program that I was working with, like, they kept being like, what's your why? What's your why? What's your why? And I kept being like, oh, I want to be healthier. Oh, I don't want to, like, be sick. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. But in all honesty, it was like I literally was like, I just want to look cute for other people. And that wasn't really enough to like sustain me on a journey like this, because it's not easy. Like, it's really not. My second reason for like why I needed to stop was like this was becoming an obsession. Like every single day I was trying to weigh myself. Every single day I was trying to like see if I had lost inches. I was like constantly worried about what I was eating. I was constantly trying to like count this, count that. I was constantly trying to make sure I was drinking enough water. Like it became such an obsession that there were other things in my life that I wasn't necessarily making sure that I was doing, because I was so obsessed about like, okay, I know that in the next 2 hours I need to eat another meal, and I know this is what the meal is gonna be, and I know I gotta write it down, and no, like I just became so obsessed with like the process and the steps and stuff like that. And then it was like when it came to weighing in, and it's like I put all this energy into this and I'm not losing weight, and like it was very frustrating. because then I became more obsessed to the point that like I was literally weighing myself every hour, which means like even though I'm supposed to be at home working, even though I'm supposed to be like reading, even though I'm supposed to be doing like things for self-growth, I can't even focus on all of those things because every hour I'm like, I need to get on the scale, I need to see if I weigh too much, I need to see. And it was just really becoming very obsessive, and then it was leaking into some of me thinking that like my self-value and my self-worth were connected to like the numbers that were on the scale. So like on the days when like the numbers were really low, I was like, oh yeah, like I'm that bitch, still that bitch, gonna forever be that bitch. I'm gonna have to bleep that out. But I really was like really feeling myself. But then on the days that it was higher, I was like, oh, like I'm not worth it. Like this is terrible. Like why am I even here? Like why am I like this? And like it's just like for me, I feel like I have to get past that because like these numbers don't really define who I am. Like I'm still popping regardless, like whether I'm 600 pounds, whether I'm 50 pounds, like I'm gonna still be popping, like just because I'm a popping person, you know. So it's like just having to really keep that in mind. And then my like last reason, of course, was like, am I trying to create a short-term solution, or do I want a long-term lifestyle change? And I feel like a lot of the things that I was doing were definitely like more short-term solutions because I really wasn't thinking about like, I don't know, like the overall composition of like what I'm eating, or like the overall composition of like why I'm doing these workouts. So like what these workouts are doing for me. I wasn't really thinking about like just overall how sustainable something like this was for me. And like now that I've had the opportunity to really think about it, I was like, this isn't for me. And it's okay to admit that things are not necessarily for you. And no, this doesn't mean that like 6 months from now or a year from now that I may like start up again. And I also don't want to have the impression that like this means I'm just throwing everything to the wind. I think that like this quarantine has really made me reflect on like what I'm actually trying to do and how I'm trying to do it, and has really like maybe, you know, just really like take a step back and be like, okay, so here's where we are. Let's reevaluate ourselves, because I do want this to be a long-term change. I want this to be something that like isn't just me losing weight really quickly so I can look like this, or for this event, or for this trip. Like I want it to be like I'm healthy. And I think that for me, when you're doing a weight loss program, and it's very focused in specifically on weight, like on what you're seeing on the scale, I feel like for me it creates a lot of anxiety. And then it also, like I said, it made me very obsessive, and a lot of times it leads to very short-term quick changes for me, where I'm like, okay, like short term, like I lost 40 pounds, great. But then it's like after I lose that 40 pounds, I'm like, okay, whatever. And I don't necessarily feel motivated enough to keep going. So because of that, it's like for me, I'm trying to turn it into like a whole lifestyle revamp. Like I'm really thinking about like the things that I do, the things that like I surround myself like overall with. And even like the media and things that I take in. So because of that, it's like, yes, my weight loss journey is over, but me living a more holistic lifestyle and living like a lifestyle that is better suited for just like me as an individual, that's still happening. And like I'm sure you all will see it. Like I'm sure you may end up following me on social media. You might end up seeing like me cooking. You might see me going to work out, things like that, but I'm not necessarily going to be on a program or like a regimen like that, just because if for me it didn't work. For me it wasn't my thing. And like I know like there are other people out there who like having all of that would be great for them, but like for me it didn't. So this is the end for me right now, but it's not the end. It's simply a new beginning. So feel free to like ask any questions you have in the comments, provide any comments, concerns, anything like that. Like, I love interacting with you all, and be on the lookout for the next video. Bye.